How you guys doing? Hero here, and it is pet tier list time. All right, I really want to do this tier list and go over everything with you guys. Lots of pets in World of Warcraft Classic. This is going to be for the hardcore official Blizzard servers. This is kind of what I'm super excited about. Now, we'll go ahead and we're going to be using Petopia with this tier list. That way I can tell you why I am giving something the grade that I'm giving it. Okay, so I'm gonna do really quickly is I'm gonna go ahead and add another row. Cool. All right, so we got our S plus tier, S, A, B, C, and D tier. Let's get to ranking. All right. What's the first one we got? Bats and bats. I like it. So let's go ahead and do bats. Bats I'm going to put at S tier. All right. And I'm going to tell you why. All right. Bats are, oh, actually, I should tell you really quickly when it comes to my tier list. This is how I'm going to be ranking things. Being that this is a specific tier list geared for hardcore. Okay. Hardcore classic WoW. I will not give S tier or above to anything that is not capable of holding threat on multiple enemies. Okay? I will not. Because of the fact this is for hardcore and it's a survivability challenge, I will be making sure that the pets that are S tier and above are able to hold threat on multiple people, multiple enemies rather, without you having to tab target in order to, you know, sick enemies on other or sick your pet on different enemies. And let me show you what that actually looks like. Okay, this is me like a couple of years ago with my tiger going in at a time that I should have been paying attention, and I ended up pulling 4 enemies. So some of the enemies are attacking me, and while I am running away, I am clicking each enemy individually and sicking my pet on them one after another until my pet has gained threat on every single enemy, and then I continue to run away, and I do not need to worry about a situation where I'm gonna die because I was running away and sicking my pet on each individual enemy as I ran. I see a lot of hunters get jumped by multiple enemies while they are using, you know, single target tanking pets, and they just are unable to either do that or turn their camera around while they run straight and tab target to another one and send them in there. They're unable to do that effectively while they run away, and they end up, you know, getting kind of slowed down using aspect of the cheetah and stuff like that, and they end up dying. So if you're able to do this very effectively, then, you know, maybe a lower ranked pet that would definitely on a regular multi-life server definitely be S or S plus rank, like let's say a cat. You can get away with using something like that in hardcore if you are, you know, pretty competent. Okay, so that is my criteria when it comes to how I am going to be ranking these. So starting with bats, I rank them at S tier, and the reason why I put bats at S tier is because of the fact that bats have an ability called Screech. Screech is not necessarily the greatest threat grabber, however it is a threat grabber. And when I say threat grabber, I mean your bat, if you have Screech and you keep your Screech on at all times, you are able to hold threat on multiple mobs, and you're able to heal your pet using men pet without snatching threat from other enemies. Okay, now you can't necessarily, the threat is not good enough so that you can multi-shot off of it, but it is good enough so that you can heal your pet, so long as you're not doing anything else to grab threat off of any of the other enemies. Kill one enemy first, move on to the next, so on and so forth. So long as you're just doing men pet and you're screeching all the time, you should be fine. Okay, now bats can also use bite. I don't recommend using cower in hardcore necessarily, although if you need to yank threat off of your pet, you can certainly do so. Dive is an awesome ability right here, and it's kind of sort of like, think of it as sprint for a bat, for a flying creature, we'll say, instead of bat, and it gets them to get to the enemy faster. Okay, kind of like a mini charge, just not as good as charge. Okay, all these, remember, passive abilities and growl don't matter, because all of these you can teach to every pet from the pet trainer in any major city. Okay, so those are bats. Now bears. Bears I am going to go ahead and put on C tier. Okay, now the reason why I'm going to put a bear on C tier is because there's really no reason to use a bear. All right, I mean, they kind of look cool. Bears are back of the box, especially if you are a dwarf. There is an old, you know, cutscene and on one of the boxes of World of Warcraft, I believe, showed a dwarf hunter on a mountaintop in Dunmoreau overlooking, I almost said Orgrimmar, overlooking Ironforge, and there was a brown bear by his side. It's a very iconic screenshot that many of you might remember from Vanilla WoW. And so some of those of you who really like that and like to hold to that nostalgia might want to use the bear. They do have claw, which is definitely better than bite, especially once your talents are all set in beast mastery. They have an okay amount of armor, you know, a more decent amount of health. Their damage is, you know, it's so-so. They're definitely not by any means one of the best pets that you can use, but there's a lot of pets that you can do worse with. Okay, so because of that, I'm gonna go ahead and put a bear at C tier. Okay, boar is gonna be next. Okay, now a boar, okay, a boar I'm gonna put at B tier. All right, a boar I'm gonna put at B tier, and the reason why I'm gonna put a boar at B tier is because most of the time that you're gonna use a boar, it's gonna be low level. Okay, it's gonna be like normally like about 10 to about 20-ish, and 10 to 20-ish boars can be pretty effective. Okay, they have, you know, a high amount of health, an okay amount of armor, their damage about the same as a bear. They do have bites, they don't have claw, but they do have boar charge, and boar charge lets the pet get to the enemy pretty much instantly, almost instantly. Okay, it doesn't look like boar charge has a cooldown. It doesn't say that it has a cooldown, but I do believe that charge does have a cooldown. I don't believe that you can, like, you know, charge a pet, kill it in just a few hits, and, you know, charge another one, or an enemy, I keep saying pet, charge another enemy like right after that. I want to say there's probably about like a 15-second cooldown, maybe. I could be wrong. There might not be any cooldown. It might just take you know, a certain amount of TP to use. Okay, now let me see. Nope, wrong. Let me see. That's what I wanted to see. Charge. Let me see here real quick. Yeah, it could just be a certain amount of TP. Okay, now because of that and the fact that boar's high level, there are no charge for high level. Like here, let's look at this. Okay, charge, for instance, you got charge rank 1, rank 2, rank 3, rank 4. There's no real way to get rank 4 charge. Then it skips over to rank 5 at level 48. There's like a couple that you can learn in in you know, the Blasted Lands, and then charge rank 6 you can learn. I mean, not many people, there's just so many better decisions that you can use when it comes to pets, so many better options rather you can use for pets when you're getting higher up there. Pets after like level, I'm gonna say about 20 25, they really fall off. So because of that, I'm gonna go ahead and give Boar rank a rank of B. Now I would have gone lower, but they do have charge. Okay, they do have charge. The next one I'm going to do is carry-on birds, and carry-on birds again are going to be S tier for pretty much exactly the same exact reason that bats are S tier. They have pretty much the exact same abilities, though they are a little bit better than, well, let me see, make sure. Yeah, they are a little bit better in my opinion than bats because of the fact that they do have claw. Okay, they do have claw where bats only have bite. So they have claw, they have screech, they have dive. Again, you don't really learn dive until like level 30-ish. Screech, I don't know if you can learn screech low level. Let me see what pets can teach you. Where was it? Screech. Pet level 8, Screech 1. The lowest level you can learn Screech is a Greater Flesh Ripper in Westfall. Okay, so anyways, carry-on birds, because of the fact they have Screech and can hold aggro on multiple enemies, so long as it's really nothing more than a men pet, I'm gonna give them an S tier because of that. Okay, it's just survivability is really good. All right, cats, normally honestly I would give cats, like if this was a regular multi-life server, cats would definitely be S or S plus tier, I promise you, especially if you had a really good cat. All right, now one thing I'm also going to do is tell you notable pets. All right, there are no real notable pets when it comes to bats, carry-on birds, boars, or bears, but cats on the other hand, there are some notable cats. All right, now if you go to cats and you want to know some notables, normally well, their health is not the best, their armor is also not the best, their damage is good. Okay, their damage is good, but what makes their damage so good is they have a fast attack speed. All right, now I want to see really quickly, hitting golden tan. Yes, okay, if you look over here, you see attack speed 2.0, right? Attack speed 2.0. Savannah Huntress, attack speed 1.5. Okay, Savannah Huntress is going to attack faster. Over here, Feral Mountain Lion, attack speed 1.2, even better than that. Okay, now before I get to that one, I'm going to show you one that you can tame at low level, level 10 in Mulgore. It's called the Rake. Okay, the Rake has 1.2 attack speed. Okay, 1.2 attack speed, which is really good. Now the Savannah Patriarch has 1.3, which is almost just as good as a Rake. All right, honestly, you probably wouldn't even notice a difference. Going back to where I was just a second ago, was I brown and tan or I was golden and tan? There was another one down here that also had 1.2 is a Needles Cougar. The Starving Mountain Lion in Hillsbrad Foothills has 1.2. So there are those other ones that you can tame if you don't want to wait until to get the Rake, or you know, until you're able to tame it, because it, you know, I think it has like an hour or 2 hour spawn or something like that. It doesn't spawn all the time. There's gonna be a lot of competition for the Rake, but there is one huge standout in the cat family, and it's Broken Tooth. Broken Tooth has an attack speed of 1.0. All right, taking that into consideration with your talent points and making sure that you have Frenzy, you are going to be attacking so fast. And with other talents in Beastmaster, you're going to be critting basically nonstop. This is an obscenely good pet, especially when you get to high level. However, it only is a single target pet. Okay, so because of that and the way I'm doing my tier list, I'm going to rank it A. But you all know that if you're competent and you're able to manage your pet's threat on various different enemies, and move it from one enemy to another enemy to another enemy while you're still doing your damage to multiple enemies. If you're able to do that and you can make it work, then a cat is definitely S or S plus tier. But for the average player, I would just recommend something better while you're leveling. When you go higher level, definitely. Okay, now crabs. Crabs, I'm gonna put D tier. There's really no reason to ever tame a crab, in my opinion. Okay, crabs are basically one of those pets that you're just gonna tame if you're in an area and you really want to learn a specific rank of claw, and the crab that teaches you claw is like right there. For instance, in Westfall, there is a crab that teaches you, I think it's a sea crawler. Nope. Let me see. There is a crab in Westfall, sand crawler maybe? Shore crawler in Westfall that knows claw 3. Okay, level 17 and 18, claw 3, Westfall. That's a perfect level that you're going to be when you're in that area a little bit later, and you're going to want to learn claw 3. Teach it to like maybe a cat or something else that can learn claw, your greater flesh ripper, and you can learn it from a shore crawler. Then once you learn it, just abandon that thing and never look at it again, because crabs are useless. You can do so much better. All right, so because of that, they're a D. Crocolisk, again, not a very amazing pet. Maybe you might be able to learn an ability from a crocodile and teach it to something else. The damage is whatever. The armor is decent, but the health is low. You have bite, not claw. So, once you start getting higher up on your talents, you would never want to really use bite anyways. So because of that, I am going to say D tier. Okay. Now, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this one, but honestly, it's just probably gonna be from people that have never actually played with it and don't pay attention to things like this when it comes to hardcore. Gorilla is probably the only S tier ranked pet that I am going to put on this tier list. I made this tier list with an extra ranking up here just because I believe Gorilla to be heads above and beyond all the other pets when it comes to hardcore, when it comes to survivability, when it comes to keeping you alive. If you have a gorilla by your side and you're competent, it is going to be very, very hard for you to die. Very hard. Okay. First off, gorillas have a decent amount of health. Okay, their armor is not the best, but they have a good amount of health. And once you give them the natural all those armor and stamina boosts from your talents, plus the natural armor here and the greater stamina here, all the various ranks of those that you learn, once you get into like the 40s plus, your gorilla is very tanky and very hard to kill just naturally. Okay, it has an ability called Thunderstomp. Thunderstomp is probably one of the best abilities when it comes to keeping you alive in hardcore that a pet can have. I know people are freaking out. It's like, it has a minute cooldown. I get it, but think of it as a bubble. All right, it's not something that you're going to want to use all the time. Okay, because you're not normally fighting multiple enemies all the time. All right, Thunderstomp is one of those abilities that you want to use and you don't want to have it automatically set. Okay, you want to use Thunderstomp at the right time. All right, Thunderstomp is one of those things where, like the video I showed you a few minutes ago, where I'm in a situation, obviously it would be higher level because you can't really get a gorilla into like 32 or something like that, I think is the earliest gorilla you can get. And I don't even know if it knows Thunderstomp. I think you might need to wait till 34 or 35 to get one that can teach you Thunderstomp. I could be wrong. But if you're in a situation where you get jumped by 3, 4, 5, 6 enemies, you can throw your gorilla into the middle of all of them and thunder stomp the pack, and you can start multi-shotting like crazy, and you will not pull threat. Okay, you can do whatever you want. You can just have at it and just go ham, you know, pop your rapid fire, pop your cooldowns, you know, do whatever you want, heal him, keep on giving him men pet, and your gorilla will survive. Now, if it's a situation where you know your gorilla is not going to survive and you got a good 30 seconds or something like that, I don't know how long it takes to cast, I don't think it's 30 seconds, probably like 15 seconds to cast Hearthstone. You can easily send your pet into all the enemies that are attacking you, thunder stomp the pack, and Hearthstone getting out of there. That's almost like a freaking bubble hearth, almost. Gorillas are so powerful when it comes to that. Even in a dungeon, you could be in a dungeon situation and your tank can do a really bad pull. It happens. You know, you go up into an area, you don't see all the enemies there. You may pull and there's a group to the right or to the left that you didn't see that pulls with them. In a situation like that, instead of having the whole party die, send your gorilla in. Make sure the taunt is on, hit the thunder stomp into the pack, and just try to kill as many of them as you can kill before your gorilla dies. And then hopefully you've killed enough of them that your tank can take over the fight and you guys can win without any loss of life. Okay, so I think I've said my piece on gorillas. Because of that, gorillas are S plus tier for me. Hyenas, another D tier pet. There's nothing special about hyenas. Dash is okay because they have dash, which is, you know, that's good. It can get to the, you know, enemy quickly, but you know, they're literally a very, very, very middle of the road pet. Their armor, their health, their damage, very middle of the road. They don't have claw, so they only have bite. All right. If you're role playing or something like that and you want to have a hyena by your side, C ranks, pretty much that's it. Owls are decent. Okay, owls are decent. S tier. Okay, owls also have screech. All right, but they have a little bit higher damage than your carrion birds and bats. Okay, they also have claw, just like the carrion birds, unlike the bats. So because of that, they're definitely S tier for me. All right, they are a fantastic low level, mid level, full game 10 to 60 pet. Okay, raptors, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, let me double check, raptors do have claw. They do, because they have claw and not just bite. I really wish they had dash or charge. I'm shocked that they don't. I'm gonna put them C rank. Okay, there's not really much reason why you would really use a raptor. Scorpids, I am going to I'll go ahead and put honestly, no. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna put scorpids at a B rank, guys. I had to go back and forth on them. They do have a decent amount of armor. Okay, they're decent. They have a decent amount of armor. You know, their health is so. Their, you know, their damage is, you know, subpar, but it's not horrible. But they do have claw and they do have scorpid poison. Scorpid poison doesn't necessarily, it's not amazing, but it does have coolness factor to it. Okay, so because of that, scorpids, I'll go ahead and give them a B rank. All right. Spiders, there is no reason to ever use a spider unless it's going to teach you something. They don't have dash, they don't have claw, they don't have really anything special, unless you really love the look of spiders, which I can't imagine anybody ever would. I would not recommend them. Tall striders, again, same thing as spiders. I don't see a reason to use them. They do have claw, I believe. Actually, they don't have claw. My bad. They do have dash, though. They do have dash, which is cool, but I mean, I guess because of that is the same thing with the hyenas. I guess I can put them C tier because of the fact they do have dash. Okay, there's that. Now turtles. Turtles, I'm gonna put at B tier. I'm not gonna go higher on turtles, but they are a good tank. They are a good tank so long as you're tanking single enemies. All right, they have shell shield. All right, shell shield. Let's see here. It says reduces all damage your pet takes by 50%, but increases the time between your pet's attacks by 43%, last 12 seconds rather. Sorry, last 12 seconds. Now, this is a good pet to use if you're like, let's say you're gonna be fighting. Actually, you know what's funny? I wouldn't use it if I was fighting elite. I'd probably use a cat because a cat would be able to hold threat better and you would kill the elite a whole lot faster with a cat. Honestly, yeah, I take it back, guys. I'm gonna put a turtle at C tier. There's no reason to use a turtle. The reason why it's not D tier is because there's shell shield. There are people that just swear by turtles. They have a really good amount of armor, guys. They have a really good amount of armor. Their their damage is subpar. Their health is okay, but they have a really good amount of armor. All right, they're not going to take a ton of damage, but they're also not going to really be kicking ass. All right, Wind Serpents, I am going to put Wind Serpents at B tier. Now, Wind Serpent does have a notable, two notables. Okay, two notables when it comes to Wind Serpent. Washipani. Okay, Washipani is a Wind Serpent that you learn, that you're able to tame rather at level 25, and it's the first Wind Serpent that knows Lightning Breath 3. Okay, Lightning Breath 3. It says breathes lightning instantly, dealing 36 to 40 nature damage to a single target. Granted, it takes 50 focus to use lightning breath. Okay, that's a pretty decent amount of focus. All right, but the thing about lightning breath is you can use it at range. So it's kind of like you're able to pull the enemy quickly. Like if you send your Wind Serpent into the enemy, it's going to attack them almost instantly because it has lightning breath. Okay, so that is really cool. One thing that's really cool about the Wind Serpent, it has bite, not that special, but it does have dive. You know, you can learn dive like level 30 plus. All right, and lightning breath is awesome. If I am using a Wind Serpent, I am using lightning breath only. This is the ability that I have set to use all the time. I normally pretty much just ignore bite. That's just me though. You can play yours the way you want to play it. Another notable is going to be Son of Hakar, level 60. I believe this is the only Wind Serpent that knows Lightning Breath 6. It is in Zul'Gurub. This is the only Wind Serpent that will teach you Lightning Breath 6. Okay, Lightning Breath rank 6. Deals 99 to 113 damage to a single target. Versus 78 to 90 in Lightning Breath rank 5. Okay, so Wind Serpent, really cool pet to use, just can be a little bit annoying. Okay, wolves, I'm gonna go ahead and put wolves at rank A. Okay, though they are able to hold threat on multiple enemies because of Furious Howl. Okay, they have an ability called Furious Howl. So long as you don't keep Furious Howl always on like Growl, and you use it specifically when your pet is actually at the enemy, the enemies or enemy that you're fighting will get the threat from Furious Howl. You can heal off of it, but you can't multi-shot off of it. Okay, Furious Howl is going to also give you, so long as you're within range, it is going to give you an attack power bonus to your next attack. Rank 1 is 9 to 11 damage on your next physical attack, not attack power, extra damage rather, right? Just make sure that you do not open with Arcane Shot and some other abilities for some reason eat up the Furious Howl ability without actually applying the extra damage. Okay, however, if you open up with Serpent Sting, it won't use it up, but it also won't use the damage. Your subsequent auto attack will. So the way it works is you send your pet in, pet gets close to enemy, Furious Howl, then you go ahead and hit Serpent Sting, let your auto attack hit, then you hit Arcane Shot. Okay, make sure that you're able to get that. The good thing about it is it will also give that buff to anyone else that's in the range in your group. So it's kind of nice if you got like a couple rogues in your group, your warrior or your paladin, stuff like that. They're also going to get a bonus to their next physical attack. Normally it's only going to work on a white attack. It's not going to work on some abilities, and some of the abilities can actually eat it up without actually giving the benefit of the ability. So because of that, because it's a little bit tricky and it takes a lot more work to get right than Screech, I'm gonna put it A rank, but do keep that in mind. It is the pet that I always use when I am a hunter from level 10 to level 16. From level 16, I get a carry-on bird. I take my carry-on bird from 16 to like 32 or 35 when I get a gorilla. And once I get the gorilla, I keep my gorilla forever. Okay, once I hit 60, I might go ahead and get a cat, you know, to have in certain situations, but more than likely I will almost always have my gorilla with me unless I go into like a raid or something like that, because you never want to growl or pull threat in a raid. Okay, dungeons, that's different. Okay, dungeons are different. But again, you don't want to keep your growl on at all times like it's something like you know, your claw or your bite or something like that. Good dungeon etiquette, guys. Good dungeon etiquette is important. When you go into a dungeon as a hunter, make sure you are turning off your growl. All right, only use it if the tank specifically asks you if you can growl. It's always annoying as a tank to have to ask somebody to turn their growl off. So don't be that guy. When you go into a dungeon, make sure your growl is turned off and only use threat generating abilities, things like that. Well, threat snatching abilities like Thunderstomp. Thunderstomp's really the only threat snatching ability that a pet has naturally. I mean, I'm not talking about, you know, intimidation or anything like that. I'm talking about like the actual pet abilities. Thunderstomp's really the only threat snatching ability that any pets have, and it's only by a gorilla. You know, Screech is not going to snatch threat. It'll just generate a little bit of threat. Enough threat that you can, you know, help keep your pet alive. When you're in dungeons, don't be scared to use Screech. Screech all the time. It's going to lower the attack damage of all the other enemies that are in the area. So just keep that in mind. It's, you know, people will like it. So that is my list, guys. S plus, S, A, B, C, and D. Going over it really quickly. Gorillas, I put it S plus because of Thunderstomp, they will keep you alive. S tier, bats, carry-on birds, and owls. They have Screech. They're very helpful, very, very beginner-friendly pets, okay? A rank, cats and wolves. Cats, probably bar none, the most popular pet in Classic WoW. Very, very high damage pet. Wolves are just there because of Furious Howl. Otherwise, they'd be in C tier, all right? B tier, boar, scorpions, and wind serpents. Scorpions because of coolness factor, boars because of charge, wind serpents because of lightning breath and dive. C tier, you got bears, hyenas, raptors, tail striders, and turtles. They all suck, but a couple of them look kind of cool. D tier is crabs, crocolists, and spiders. They really suck. They look horrible, but they might teach you something one day. So that is my tier list. I hope you guys enjoy it. As always, please give me your feedback in the comments below. Tell me exactly what you disagree with and why, and tell me what you agree with and why, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Keep a lookout for that, you know, my little, I'm gonna do like a talent guide for Hunter. That's gonna be coming up next, followed by a Hunter guide. I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Go live on Twitch all the time. See you guys later. Take care.